Well, thank you for staying with us. Now, let's talk about data. Now, RAC Center is West Africa's best connected center and cloud-neutral data center. Do you understand what that means? Not yet. Okay. We're going to educate you today. Established in 2012, the company provides best-in-class data center co-location services. You know what co-location is? No, don't worry. Don't.
I do understand English.
I know you understand English. So knowing this gives customers a technically superior, physically more secure and lower cost environment for their information systems. There's a whole lot to unpack in what's been said so far. So let's bring on to have this conversation with us this morning Ezekiel Igboye, who is the COO of RAC Center. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure, sir.
As well as Foluwaderigbe, Sales Director, RAC Center. Thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Now, you want to ask your questions now?
No, not yet.
Not yet? It's okay. So let's, for those who are wondering what a RAC Center is, help us understand that first.
So RAC Center is a data center company that provides co-location services. And rightfully so, you asked what co-location means. Co-location is a term that is used in the data center industry to showcase a facility that provides co-location services, connectivity, and interconnect services for the various industries. So traditionally, before RAC Center came on board, so we're talking 10, 11 years ago, what we had in the country was simply enterprise data centers, which were primarily built by various companies and not designed and built to any specific standards. The narrative at the time for Nigeria was not great because we did not have any credible co-location service data center that could provide that required international services to the industry. So that brought about the clear strategic vision for RAC Center to come into the country and provide that credible, intelligent services to the industry.
So what have been some of your most notable achievements over the past decade?
So we're actually celebrating 10 years since we went live.
Okay.
And the key things that we've achieved was the first thing when we came on board was to change the narrative of co-location services in the country. At the time, there were no commercial international standard co-location services. And what we had at the time was enterprise businesses providing the services internally and not able to showcase the international requirements to meet what best-in-class services actually means. So what we've done is when we came on board, the key mandate was for us to design a facility, run a facility in line with best practice, where we use the international standards to benchmark all the key criteria from a design to build to operate services. So in the last 10 years, one key major achievement that we are extremely proud to showcase is that we've been uptime for 10 years with no single downtime at all. That is a true key milestone for any country to be able to showcase a data center that has consistently provided uptime for you. Without that required uptime, your businesses are down. And typically, when the data centers are not designed and operated at that level, you tend to have downtime, and that does impact the services that the clients have.
Mr. Igboye, pardon me for taking you back. I need to ask you a very basic question. What is a data center?
A data center is a facility where you host your infrastructure. So data center typically have the physical building,
Yep.
it has the cooling infrastructure, it has the power infrastructure, and then it has racks, where you bring either your servers, your storage, your connectivity platforms, and then you interconnect. And then you're able to consume services and provide services to your clients.
So I'm assuming that your clients would be our network providers, for instance.
The network providers are part of the clients.
Okay.
Pretty much every business that provides services to their customers are our clients.
Thank you.
Are you done?
I've got it. I'm with you now.
If only you knew. Anyway, let me come to you, Mr. Derigbe. How would you say RAC Center has helped to grow the Nigerian internet ecosystem?
Okay, so we've seen the adoption of technology and increase in the rate of internet users across the country. And this has necessitated, should I say, them requiring a fast and reliable access to data at a minimal cost and, of course, reduced latency. So to meet that objective of reduced connectivity costs and reduction in latency, we've built a 13.5 megawatt campus facility here in Ikeja and ensured that access to data internationally from what I'll call content and cloud providers. There are what we call the undersea cables. Their presence in RAC Center, we've ensured that the maximal presence of all those undersea cables currently exist in RAC Center. We also have the presence of tier 1, what I'll call 65 high-speed internet service providers. We also have 2 independent, what I call interconnect exchange platforms, which of course enables the transfer and sharing of data between those the partners that do come onto that platform. So I think with that facility and with some of the services we do provide, over the years, it has created an enabling environment for businesses and individuals who desire access to the internet at what I would say a fast and reliable pace to enjoy those services.
Mr. Iboye said when he was talking a few minutes ago that you're celebrating 10 years and you're celebrating 10 years of uninterrupted service. This service you're talking to us about requires power. How have you, 24 hours, you know. So how have you been able to maneuver through that?
Well, like my colleague said, one of the key things is we've designed and built the facility on best international practice. And it involves quite a lot, apart from the resources in terms of human resources, the motivation, that is required, and also putting the processes and procedures, controls in place to ensure that things actually work without taking anything for granted. The honest truth is it's not been easy. In a country like ours currently, where we do have infrastructural challenges. Power is a very overflogged issue in this regard. It is therefore no mean feat for us to have been able to attain that 100% uptime without any downtime. And probably Ezekiel would also dwell more on that. But one of the key things, or one of the key elements we pride ourselves in, is what I would call trying to ensure that we maintain what I call the global standard practices in everything we do, which requires to procurement of the components that are required to run the data center, even to in relation with our customers, ensuring that, of course, that customer satisfaction is guaranteed. We're here for them to be able to make sure their businesses are also up and running. So once you have that at the back of your mind while you're there in the marketplace in the first place, I think it helps for you to meet the objective.
Okay.
And of course, we've also transmuted from diesel currently to gas.
You haven't answered my question.
Well, but maybe we should ask him.
How is it that you have power all the time in a country where we all complain about lack of power?
It's been a challenge, to be honest. And there were certain key decisions at the inception. So 11 years ago, when we looked at what our power architecture should look like, we did a clear analysis on the grid, the national grid. And at the time, unfortunately, reliability was approximately 25%. And the capex that's required for you to actually procure that was extremely huge. So 25% would not cut it because our clear objective was to provide 100% uptime. So we looked at what other alternative do we have as a business that we can have control over in terms of how we run, design, and maintain that infrastructure.
Generator.
And we came up with a diesel infrastructure at the time, which was a clear source of energy that we felt very comfortable that as long as we understand the processes, we understand the engineering, we can actually work. Exactly. We can actually work tirelessly to maintain it. So we came up with a very robust engineering design in the diesel infrastructure where we had what is called N+2. In engineering terms, N means the capacity that's required to run the infrastructure. And then we have +2, meaning we have additional
excess.
2 backups that can support the infrastructure should it go down. We went further to the UPS system where we also had redundancy in terms of the UPS, and we built a very complex, robust diesel management system where we had 4 independent diesel farms with interconnect platforms that allows us to be able to isolate any of the diesel tanks should we have contamination. Not only that, we went further to have a diesel lab where we have clear designed tools to be able to test every aspect of the biodiesel content in the diesel. And if it doesn't pass, we reject it. We also went further to engage with the key suppliers as well. So the value chain, we looked at the value chain. We engaged with the key suppliers and we had clear SLAs with them in terms of the delivery process. And to buttress the final point, we have a very, very skilled technical team that understands how to deal with issues when they happen. We have a clear process because in the data center world, 80% of downtime is caused by human error. So you have to have a clear process and governance in place on how your team manages that infrastructure. With that, we were able to sustain and build that robust infrastructure on diesel. But moving forward, because of sustainability is extremely key in our agenda as a business, we believe very strongly in environmental friendly sources of energy. We've now moved over from diesel into gas. So currently we run the facility on gas infrastructure, piped gas into our facility, and diesel is only backup, which we rarely use now. So we are truly in our journey to become green.
I shudder to imagine the cost that you must have. I don't want to know. I can almost be sure that it could run a country, what you spent in the past 10 years. But talking about sustainability, is that all? That must be just one of the sustainability efforts that you have.
Yeah, so we have a clear strategic vision on ESG, environmental social governance, where from the onset, we've designed our facility with that in mind. So we have, from our lighting system, we have lighting system that takes into account sustainability, where we have smart systems that ensures that we don't waste energy. Secondly, our cooling infrastructure as well is the technology for our cooling infrastructure requires on-demand consumption. So we're not just cooling the entire data center randomly. There are sensors in every key areas of the data center that determines the cooling requirement for that specific area. And that sensor triggers what's called a building management system, which is the heart of the monitoring of the environment. Triggers that request to the cooling system to allow the required cooling. So it's cooling on demand, so we're not just constantly cooling the environment. That's another way we've looked at it. Also, we in our current expansion, we have taken green initiatives very seriously in the design of that. I'm proud to say that RAC Center is the first in sub-Saharan Africa today to have designed a building that is compliant to IFC Edge. So the IFC Edge initiative is around buildings that are built with green technology in mind.
Okay.
And the design that we have now allows us to save 41% in energy, 35% in water, and 40% in sustainability-enabled biodiesel content as well. So that design clearly shows that the building that we're having now, which is our new expansion, is in line with the green technology. And we're still innovating. That's another key thing. We constantly innovate and look out for additional and new renewable energy components that we can integrate to our facility as well.
It's interesting that you bring in the green into it, because I was going to ask you about your carbon footprints. We're talking about net zero in how many years? In about 8 years. So and you are in the tech world. So what are the initiatives that you are taking or that you have taken towards reducing your carbon? You've mentioned the energy that you've switched to gas, for instance.
Yeah.
What are the other initiatives that you have taken?
So we're also looking at other renewable systems that we can actually integrate into what we have today. So we're consistently exploring. Also, we do regular audits, both internal and external audits on the ESG platform that we have, to look at the environment and how we are consistently reducing our carbon emission to the environment. We get those reports. We are fully compliant to NESRA, which is the National Environmental Agency that is responsible for environmental conditions. The last gentleman that was here the other time talked about noise levels and the decibels and stuff like that. We ensure that we comply to those clear parameters that have been set by the required agencies, and we consistently monitor our entire environment to see how we can actually do things more efficiently and better as well.
Let me ask you, Mr. Aderigbe.
Yes.
For those who are wondering, why are data centers important for driving digital transformation in Nigeria?
I think one of the key things or one of the key elements anybody will want to look at is what I would call reliability of the service, and also to have some form of resiliency with regards to their daily operations. Prior to now, like 11, 12 years ago, most of all the companies virtually had on-premise hosting of their infrastructure, which gave them access to data, either to internet service providers or to their cloud-based services. With data centers, what that has done is create an ecosystem where you have access to multiple service providers. And of course, that ensures some form of competitiveness with regards to those internet service providers, ensuring that they meet the best standards in delivering those services to those customers. Also, in terms of cost, the cost of providing those services to each and every company, because it's elements of scale. So instead of having to have what I would say connectivity to each and every of this, you can just come to a data center, sit in that data center. So I would always want to break this down like a realtor who builds a facility and allows vendors to come and market their goods, right? And then you also create an enabling environment for customers to be able to come in. And that environment ensures security, there's good convenience, there's good parking. So that's basically what we do. Now, we're not in compete with the internet service provider. That's why we say we're carrier and cloud neutral data center. So we allow the internet service providers to come in, we allow the enterprises to come in, we allow government institutions to come in. So it's like a marketplace.
Okay.
So I have services to deliver, and then you have the users who are going to procure those services. And that is why you're creating that enabling environment. And we've seen, even from the realtor point of view, advent of malls. People are beginning to share that experience going to the malls, because when you go there, you're going to one-stop shop, and you're having varied services that are being delivered to customers. That's exactly what we do from that technology standpoint.
Okay. I want to, take you up on this. I know that we're out of time, Mr. Egboye, but I hope this is one of your sustainability initiatives. One of your key messages is that you are investing in the development of local talent, training and hiring Nigerians to fill key roles in your data centers. How's that going? Excellently well. It's a clear mandate from the shareholders, which we hold very seriously. We have a clear CSR program that we consistently monitor and ensure it's implemented. Right now, we have 3 CSR programs that are running. The first one is what we call the Youth Empowerment Program, where within 1 kilometer radius of our facility, we have brought in 150 youths where we're training them in technology, understanding the various aspects of technology. And we've partnered with a few other organizations to ensure that after the 12-week program, they will be absorbed into this organization to continuously learn and have hands-on training on those skills. We also absorb them as well. Okay. We've also got another program currently going on for SMEs. So we've also picked out 50 SMEs where we've come up with trainings and tools that will help them enhance the way they do business from a technology standpoint. And thirdly, we have another program which is linked to our current build of the data center, where within the 1 kilometer radius as well, we've picked out 50 unskilled people and have going through training programs on the various civil works, plumbing, carpentry, all the required physical work to actually build a data center. Okay. They're going through that program as we speak, and once they complete the program in 2 weeks' time, they will be absorbed into the current workforce that is building our facility as well. Okay. Well, clearly, we need like maybe 5 hours to discuss everything Rack Center, but for now, we have to thank you very much. Thank you. We can only wish you all the best. Ezekiel Egboye is COO of Rack Center, and he's here with Folu Aderigwe, Sales Director at Rack Center. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. Appreciate your time. Thank you, madam. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So we're back in a moment to take on another conversation. Do stay with us.